Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 14.1 and then they released iOS 14.1 GM. Now let me explain myself a bit because this is a little strange what Apple did. Now earlier today, Apple released iOS 14.2 Beta 3. I did a video on that on my iPhone 11 Pro Max, and then after that, they released iOS 14.1, but only on their developer site, and you couldn't download it over the air. You could download it if you're a developer and then install it using a computer, but there was no beta profile. Later on, Apple pulled that update and then they re-released it as iOS 14.1 GM. And that's what I'm running here. GM and the one they released earlier are the exact same, but you need a computer still to install it. So the odd thing is you'll need to download it from the developer website, then install it using Finder or iTunes on a Mac or iTunes on Windows as well. There is no beta profile, so there's no way to go to this without a computer currently. Now that could change tomorrow, but right now there's no way. Now this particular update, because you had to download it, came in at 6 gigabytes on my iPhone 11 Pro. It also came in at 5 gigabytes on my 2020 iPad Pro 12.9, and also came in at about 5 gigabytes for the iPhone 6s Plus, which I still haven't installed it on yet. This particular update is a public release that should be coming out hopefully as soon as tomorrow, but Apple may wait until iPhone 12 launches in order to push this out. So it's a little strange that they did this, but let's go ahead and take a look at the build number. You can see the build number is 18A8395. Now this has an extra digit compared to what we've had before. Normally we would have a letter on the end, so maybe this isn't the final public release that they'll release to the public either tomorrow or in a couple weeks when iPhone 12 comes out. So this is a bit of a mystery why Apple did this, but there are a couple different things in it. The first one is it does have a modem update, at least for the iPhone 11 Pro, and it should help with connectivity, as did iOS 14.2 Beta 3. They both had updates and they're different modem updates, so you will have one here. Now, as far as anything new, well, most people have not been able to find anything new. There's not a whole lot going on. So what that makes me think is this is actually a release that's going to be a major bug fix release. But it also adds code for things such as the iPhone 12. So for example, if we go into settings and then we go to wallpaper, under wallpaper, choose a new wallpaper, and there's no new wallpaper for my iPhone 11 Pro, but if you had an iPhone 12, it would show up. So there are some people that have posted these wallpapers. It's in the code and ready to go, but they didn't post the iPhone 12 Pro wallpaper. So maybe that will be coming later with a future iOS 14.2 update. They didn't put any of that in there. Now, there are a couple other things that you can't see, and one of them has to do with the ability for HomeKit to actually detect smoke alarms. So within the Home app, there will be the ability to detect smoke alarms and carbon monoxide alarms and alert you through HomePod. Now, with HomePod, there were some new features launched today with the HomePod Mini, such as an intercom. That code is here too, where you can actually use your phone to talk to Siri and tell it to make it an intercom to talk throughout your house wherever your HomePods are. That will also relay to devices such as your Apple Watch, iPads, and iPhones throughout the house. So that code is in here, and it's in iOS 14.2 betas as well now. There's also code regarding iPhone 5 5G. So under cellular, you'll have the 5G option, and that will be coming out hopefully soon with the iPhone 12. Now, as far as anything else new, there are no new emoji in here, and there's no notes from Apple about this GM. Normally, there's some notes telling us what's new, and I've not been able to find anything significant. In fact, I looked around playing this song here, so let me turn the music down, and we'll play the song. Press and hold, and you'll see that we don't even have the album art in the control center like we do on 14.2. So if I long press, you'll see we have album art and suggestions if we're not playing a song. If I play a song, it switches to the album art. That's on 14.2 Beta 3. They haven't updated that with 14.1, at least this particular GM build. You can see I still have the gap here for different HomeKit apps or HomeKit controls, and that will switch back and forth based on when I go home or go to the office. They sort of fill in. I always thought it was a bug, but I've just kind of learned to live with it for now. Now, along with the things you can't see, Apple apparently fixed all of the same things with iOS 14.1 that they did with iOS 14.2 Beta 3. So what that means is, for those of you that were having issues with WhatsApp before with videos, apparently that's fixed in this particular update. So that's good news. It wasn't an issue with WhatsApp, but rather an issue with iOS itself. So thankfully, whatever that was should be resolved. It could have been a permissions issue or something along those lines. Now, aside from that, many people ask me, is 4K YouTube working? And I wasn't able to get it working in this particular update. So I went in, played a couple videos. It just didn't show. The highest resolution I had was 1080p. So it seems like YouTube is giving that sometimes to people, and then other times it's disappearing. Hopefully we'll see it in the future, since we'll have higher resolution OLED displays with iPhone 12, just like we do with the 11 Pro. So maybe a 1440p option would be great, but either way, we'll have to wait for YouTube to update that. Now, with the iPad Pro, with iPadOS 14.1, there's nothing really major that I've found. There may be some small tweaks here and there, but basically it looks again like it's a bug fix update. Now, once Apple releases iOS 14.1 GM and they give us a list of what's actually changed, of course, I'll make a follow-up video and let you know exactly what's going on with it. But as far as iPadOS 14.1, well, it doesn't seem to have anything new in it. There may be some slight changes to wording with privacy and other places, but nothing else exciting. As far as performance, well, on the iPad, it's working really well. It's nice and fast and smooth, and hopefully it works a little bit better than it did before. I had some issues with my keyboard on my iPad Pro with iOS 14.0.1. So using the Magic Keyboard before, sometimes the keyboard wouldn't work properly. So I'd have to reboot the device, and then it would let me type. Now, as far as performance on iOS 14.1, again, expect it to be nice and fast and fluid. I don't really expect any compromises, any issues, any freezing. Hopefully there'll be some great updates with this, and we'll see battery life improved and fixed. Now, I did run a Geekbench on this particular version using Geekbench 5, and I scored 1,337 for single core, 3,478 for multi-core. If we take a look at the history, you'll see that, well, if we find the right date here, based off of, well, you have one from last year. It's actually running about the same, a little faster for single core, a little slower for multi-core based off of what we had with iOS 13. And so it's actually doing okay. So let's take a look at it on the iPad. And on the iPad, again, using Geekbench 5, I scored 1,121 for single core, 4,617 for multi-core. And again, you can see it's on iOS 14.1 there. So it's pretty good as far as performance, and it's only been a couple hours since it's been installed, so hopefully it will get even better as I use it more. The other day, Apple released watchOS 7.0.2 with a battery fix, and I'm hoping that fix is in iOS 14.1 also, but it will take a few days to know that for sure. So the actual update, using it regularly, it's going to take a few days to see what it's like and if it's actually going to drain the battery like it did before. I'll be able to tell you that for sure on my iPad, as my iPad is a device I use all the time. So if we go into the battery on my iPad, we'll wait for it to load here, and you can see that here, I don't charge this every day, but if we go to the last 10 days, you'll see a quarter of my battery was used, and I had 3 hours and 49 minutes of screen on time, 1 hour and 12 minutes of screen off time. You'll see I had an hour the next day, 3 hours and 9 minutes the next day, and then I do charge it from time to time. So you'll see today it says it was charged. That's when it was plugged in and actually updating. But normally I don't charge this every single day, all day long. So again, it will take a few days to know for sure. I use it a lot for YouTube, and hopefully we have great battery life. And of course, I'll be following up with you to make sure that we do. And if we don't, we'll report it to Apple through feedback, even though this isn't a beta. Now, I'm looking forward to all the new Apple updates with iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max, and the new MagSafe accessories should be interesting. One thing to note is that they do snap on magnetically on the back, and they'll charge at 15 watts with fast charging, as long as it's using that MagSafe connector. You can still use it with Qi wireless charging, but it won't charge at 15 watts. It'll charge at 7.5 watts, and it will slow everything down, and that's because the alignment isn't perfect. So using the MagSafe, it will snap to it and be aligned properly. And then, of course, HomePod Mini and all of these things. And let me know if you want to see a separate video about all of the new announcements, maybe a day later, and see what we think about it after sort of the hype is gone, and let me know what you think about that in the comments below. Of course, if there's anything else new that we find in the next day or so, I'll make another video if there's significant updates. If not, I'll just put it in my follow-up video later this week when I usually do those on the weekend. If you'd like to get your hands on this wallpaper, I'll link it in the description below. And if you'd like me to link the other wallpapers for iPhone 12, I think I'll link those below. I don't need to ask, so I'll link those below and you can get those as well. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.